can stop me. I'm all the way up. All the way up. I'm all the way up. I'm all the way up. Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. Shorty what you want, shorty what you need. My niggas run game, we ain't never leave. Counting up this money, we ain't never sleeping. You got V12s, I got 12 V's. Got bottles, got weed, got Molly. I'm all the way up. Shorty what you want, I got what you need. Shorty what you want, I got what you need.
Hello everyone, Colter Nuanez, SkylineSportsMT.com, coming to you through the ESPN MT studio. Appreciate the collaboration with ESPN MT for all of our content production. This is our Players to Watch series, so please continue logging in, watching on the YouTube channel. Please rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. The YouTube subscription, very easy. Just click on subscribe and you can follow along. Montana playing Cal Poly in Missoula on Saturday night. The Mustangs come to town. They've really been struggling. They're 1-7, but they are led by a familiar face, at least to those that have followed the Big Sky for quite some time. Bo Baldwin, the head coach at Cal Poly. He was at Eastern Washington for 9 years, led the Eagles to their most recent FCS national championship by a Big Sky Conference member and the only national championship in Eastern Washington history in 2010. And he's trying to implement a similar philosophy there at Cal Poly. So here's some players to watch for the Mustangs. It's certainly been a massive turnover. I think the spot you got to watch the most when you go from running the triple option, which Cal Poly did for years and years and years under both Rich Ellerson and Tim Walsh, to now running a more in vogue spread offense. The single back spread is basically what Bo Baldwin's coaching style is. He comes from the Dennis Erickson, Greg Olson coaching tree. So shades of what Idaho was doing in the 80s, and then Greg Olson, what he was doing at Central Washington. Olson then went on to become an NFL offensive coordinator. But the biggest transition is going to be on the offensive line because Cal Poly had athletic, fast guys that were trained to down block and cut block, and now they got to figure out a way to pass block. And I know it's been a couple years now, but that's certainly a spot to watch as a whole, just Cal Poly's offensive front, how they handle Montana's swarming defensive front. The other two primary guys to watch offensively, Spencer Brash, who's a fourth-year junior quarterback for the Mustangs. He's sort of become the guy. He was splitting time with Jaden Jones, but Jones got hurt earlier this year, and so Brash has sort of solidified himself as the guy. He's been throwing for a pretty good clip of yardage, but it hasn't really resulted in much success whatsoever for Cal Poly. And so he's a talented guy for sure. And I think that as this thing evolves, Baldwin's going to get a quarterback. He's going to get a guy that can spin it. And Brash can spin it. It's just a matter of when does Bo Baldwin go get that guy that's like a Eric Meyer or a Vernon Adams or a Gage Gubrud or even an Eric Berrier who Baldwin recruited to Eastern but didn't get to really see it through. That guy's coming. If history tells us anything, I mean, and, you know, maybe history doesn't repeat itself or maybe it is elusive, but Baldwin knows how to not only recruit quarterbacks but also coach them as well. And so you just imagine that he's going to be able to find a guy and coach him up. Brash has completed almost 60% of his passes, 251 yards a game, 1,759 yards total, 13 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. His primary target has been Chris Coleman. Montana head coach Bobby Hauck talked about Chris Coleman directly. Coleman is a former Fresno State transfer and a super senior there at Cal Poly, and he's averaging 101 yards per game. He's had over 100 yards in 5 of Cal Poly's 8 games so far. So certainly one of the leading receivers in the league, 50 total catches for 808 yards, and he's tied for a team high with 4 touchdowns. Josh Cuevas is their second leading receiver. He also has 4 receiving touchdowns.
In just a few minutes, small business owners can now sign up for Blackfoot Communication Services. Whether it's dependable voice options or internet services, sign up simply by visiting blackfootsmallbusiness.com. Click on the services you wish, select an installation time and date, and you're done. Small business services at the touch of your fingers. Connect to more with Blackfoot Communications and blackfootsmallbusiness.com.
SkylineSportsMT.com. Players to watch for the Cal Poly Mustangs. Defensively, Cal Poly's really struggled. And that's the undertold story about Tim Walsh's program, is that Coach Walsh, while running the triple option, was the thing that got all of the conversation. Cal Poly was really good on defense. They had they were like linebacker U out in the Big Sky other than Montana. I mean, Nick DeZubnar is still playing in the NFL. Cameron Ontko played in the CFL and the NFL. Johnny Millard played in the NFL for the Houston Texans. So they had a great lineage of linebackers specifically, but they also had some really good defensive linemen. And that's been the thing that's holding them back more than anything. They're decent on offense. They're having a really hard time defensively. They are giving up more than 30 points per game, and they're giving up yards in bunches, almost 500 yards per game of total offense. But a couple of their leaders defensively for Cal Poly, David Meyer, who's a 6'1", 210-pound sophomore linebacker. He has really emerged. He wasn't a starter at the beginning of the year, but now he's the leading tackler on Cal Poly with 58 total tackles. He also has 3.5 sacks. And then the other guy to watch, and this is where Coach Baldwin's recruiting is going to come in, is a true freshman corner named Javion Cole. And I think that Baldwin, one of the underrated parts of his recruiting at Eastern Washington was some of the great defensive backs that they brought in. You need guys that can play like an up-tempo style defense and take some risks and go get the ball because of the style of offense you want to play. Cole has been sort of that guy already. He had 2 interceptions in his second college game against San Diego and a couple more against Eastern Washington 2 weeks ago. So he has definitely been a bright spot there in the Cal Poly secondary, a guy that can really run and is showing good ball skills and sort of acclimating well in his first year playing defense for the Mustangs. Other guys to watch, Dustin Grine is probably their best guy, one of their best guys up front, number 31. Undersized, though. That's sort of the story of this entire Cal Poly defense, and you wonder how much they want to change that or alter that. Dustin Grine is a 6'2", 240-pound interior D lineman, and Elijah Ponder is another guy up front to watch, and he's only 6'3", 200 pounds. So they're a little light, but it should be interesting to see how they match up with a Montana offense that, especially without Lucas Johnson, has really struggled. So there you go. That's your Cal Poly players to watch for this week as we turn the calendar to November. Cal Poly in Missoula, Saturday night, 6 p.m. kickoff from Washington-Grizzly Stadium. Looking forward to it. We'll see you there. Thanks so much for following along. Subscribe to our YouTube channel here at Skyline Sports and keep on following at SkylineSportsMT.com. Skyline Sports, every day, every season.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Town